Hey, what's up guys? It's Jakeem the Nerdy Python, and today we're going to be talking some Avengers Endgame spoilers. Guys, this is my third time seeing this film within the past 3 days, so I'll be lying to you if I said I didn't experience a little bit of Endgame burnout. But to be honest with you, I still highly enjoyed the film this time around as much as I did the first, and still carry that same impression that, it's very awesome. This movie's 3 hours long, so there's a lot I need to discuss with you guys spoiler-wise, but before we get into that, I'm going to give it over to my man Esley Greer over at Entertainment Fanatic Reviews, just so we can get his thoughts on the subject. Go ahead and take it away, Esley.
Hello, my name is Esley Greer from Entertainment Fanatic Reviews, and I want to thank Jakeem for letting me be a part of this Avengers Endgame spoiler review. Before I get started, I am mostly a horror fan, and fantasy or whatever. So going into this was my first comic book or superhero film in a while. The last one I saw in theaters was Logan, but I have a very select few that I do like to watch. And also, I didn't see Infinity War or Thor Ragnarok till the other day. One more thing. I went into this film just expecting to have a fun time. I went with my friend and my girlfriend, and my experience with this film was dumbed down. It was a bit ruined for me, not because of spoilers, which I know this is a spoiler review, but I wasn't spoiled with this film. But there was a family behind me, and this family decided to bring all 8 of their kids to the damn theater to watch this, and these kids would talk every 2 to 3 minutes. I'm not even joking. This is a 3-hour movie. So a third to half of this movie, these kids were talking. So I hate kids. I have watched very few films in the MCU. I've seen all the Iron Man films, the first Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, Ant-Man, and a few others. So I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew all the characters. And when Black Widow passed away, when she died, I was a bit sad, to be honest. But and when Iron Man passed away, I was really sad, and I was on the verge of crying. But the little kid behind me kept talking, and I was so pissed off. So, and the end battle was great when Thanos dies, when Iron Man gets the 6 stones, so that was great. But when Doctor Strange did this, I knew what that meant. One person's gonna have to die in the Avengers. That really got to me. It's just, this movie was just ruined for me because the kids behind me wouldn't shut the fuck up. But I loved that Captain America passed down the torch or his shield to Sam. It's just, this movie is very action-packed, and the deaths really do get to you. I just wish I had a better time with this film. With that being said, I will give Avengers Endgame an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. I would really like to watch it again, but I'm not going to waste my money again on it to go see it in the theater. I'll probably just wait until it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD. Make sure to check out my channel, because there's going to be an epic rant video here soon about Avengers Endgame and why you should never bring your kids to the theater. So, thanks for letting me be a part of this, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Oh man, Esley, I'm so sorry you had such a terrible experience in Endgame. I wish it was better for you, but on the bright side, man, I'm really looking forward to that rant of yours. It should be very hilarious. So guys, be sure to check out Esley's channel over at Entertainment Fanatic Reviews for, his thoughts on 80s and 90s horror classics. Now back to my spoiler talk, guys. Like I said before, there's a lot I need to discuss with you, so, try to bear with me as I try to break down the spoilers in sequential order from start to finish. So guys, right at the start of the film, we're hit right in the field. So we catch back up with Hawkeye and just sort of enjoying a nice evening outdoors with his family and teaching one of his daughters to shoot bow and arrows. And it was pretty clear to me right off the jump what was about to happen. So it didn't really shock me as much as it did others when one by one his family just started getting dusted away. A lot of people seemed really surprised and shocked, and there was a lot of gasps around me, but it just didn't hold that same weight with me for some reason. And I know it's partly due to the fact that I already saw it coming, but also it's probably because, I just didn't share that same emotion for Hawkeye. And no offense to the Hawkeye fans out there, I really like the character, but to be honest with you, I do feel like when it comes to the Avengers, he probably is the most irrelevant out of all of them. And it's not because I dislike Hawkeye, that's not the case at all. Because ultimately, I do feel like in every superhero team, we do need the average guy to sort of make the team in general just feel more human and relatable. So right after that, the Marvel Studios logo pops up and we get that opening. Instead, this time, we don't get the regular Avengers theme. We get like this song, which is very somber and like depressing to sort of reflect the times that the Avengers are in. I was really hoping to see the Stan Lee cameo opening that we saw in Captain Marvel, but at the same time, I wasn't all that mad since, you know, the theme of this one did fit the overall tone of the first act of the film. So right after that, guys, we catch back up with Tony and Nebula, who are still just sort of lost adrift in outer space inside the Benatar after the events of Infinity War. And guys, this part right here was just really touched me inside, because, you know, we get these two very unlikely characters interacting as friends for the first time. And, you know, they're just playing, I forgot the name of that game is, but I'm just going to call it fingertip field goals, where, you know, he's basically just teaching her human sentiment and, you know, pretty much the concept of fun. He also uses the damaged helmet to relay that message to Pepper that we saw back in the first trailer, and where he just pretty much tells her that, you know, hey, I don't have that much time left, but even if I do die, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you and that you will be fine. Just try to move on and live your life, which I thought was very necessary in an exchange that we really did need to see. And just when Tony's down and out and at the end of his rope and pretty much about to pass off from, you know, lack of oxygen and starvation, a tiny glimmer of hope comes within the form of an orange gleaming light out in the distance. And guys, just like an angel, in comes Captain Marvel, and she pretty much just rescues the both of them and takes them back to Earth. So when they finally do make it back to Earth and regroup with the rest of the team, a lot of drama and conflict arises, particularly on the part of Tony, who feels that Cap pretty much abandoned him. He pretty much just lashes out at Cap and, you know, rips out the nanite storage unit from his chest and hands it to Cap as an insult to his character, basically saying, you know, you want to fight Thanos? Go ahead, be my guest, just leave me the fuck out of it. And I really love seeing that amount of depth from Tony, and it just really made him stand out in this film. They then search for Thanos and are able to find him off on a distant planet with Captain Marvel running recon. And when we finally do catch up with him, we find out that he's been living as a retired farmer, you know, since the events of Infinity War. And at that point, guys, I will not lie to you, I really felt bad for Thanos when, you know, when the Avengers just pretty much storm in and take him out, because, you know, I felt like he no longer posed a threat, and the Russo brothers did a really good job of, you know, giving him a sense of innocence at that point and, you know, really making us feel that way. The Avengers alongside Rocket are also surprised to find that Thanos used the stones again essentially to destroy him and therefore make him unusable. And now, guys, we got to discuss that 5-year time jump, which completely shocked the hell out of me. When I first heard that there was going to be a time jump in this film, it didn't hit me that they'd actually be fast forwarding into the future. I just thought that it was more of a reference to time travel. But either way, guys, I really enjoyed this concept because, you know, it really opened a nice level of open-endedness for discussion and, you know, pretty much theorizing as to what actually happened within that time frame. There's been a lot of changes in the Avengers, starting off with Tony and Pepper, who are now married with their daughter. Thor is now fat and let himself go. And also, guys, I was very delighted to find that Banner and Hope finally merged and became Professor Hope from the comics, where pretty much, you know, he's still big and green, but has Banner's brain and sounds and acts just like him. So it was really an awesome addition to the film to pretty much just show, like, you know, the complete evolution of the character. The team is still operating with different members scattered across the globe on their own independent missions, with Captain Marvel out of space handling all the cosmic threats, and she also looks pretty badass with her new haircut. Once Ant-Man comes back into the fold and escapes the quantum realm, he pretty much introduces them to the idea of time traveling via the quantum realm to pretty much find all the stones before Thanos can. And at that point, that's when the film kind of shifts in tone as everybody just sort of springs to action. After a few test runs, they finally crack the code and begin their search through time for the stones, divided into 3 teams, each with a separate mission. And guys, this is when all the time travel badassery starts. You know, we get a lot of callbacks to all the older films and see all those events happen again. For example, Hulk, Cap, Iron Man, and Ant-Man are in 2012 New York, where we see the first 6 assemble for the first time in that badass shot. And both Rhodey and Nebula are on 2014 Morat, where Star-Lord's after the orb. And I just thought it was really cool to see that shit happen again. There's a lot of other things that happen that'll just take way too long for me to explain, so I'll just keep it short and say Cap also fights his alternate, and the most heartwarming part was, you know, when they travel back in time to the 70s and meet up with Howard Stark. It just really hit home for me, and it was very emotional to see, you know, Tony finally get that moment with Howard that he always talked about and, you know, that he always wanted since the first film. I remember at the end of the first film where, you know, he says he never got to say goodbye to his dad, and, you know, if he did, he would ask him, you know, if he felt conflicted about the whole weapons manufacturing thing. And I just really loved that callback. It just really hit home for me, and it was very emotional. And honestly, guys, that part right there is the one that really had me in the most tears. So they succeed in gathering all the stones at the cost of losing Black Widow to the Soul Gem, and it was really sad for a lot of people. And, you know, it didn't hit me as hard because I had already had it spoiled, but to be honest, guys, I really am going to miss Scarlett Johansson in the cast, and the Avengers will be different without her. Tony creates his own version of the gauntlet with Hope during the snap after they all decided that the most powerful should be the one to do it. And, you know, it seems to fail as Thanos' ship is able to enter their reality through the quantum field, and this is pretty much where the final act of the film takes place. So Thanos destroys Avengers base, and everybody's been separated throughout different areas of the wreckage, as Thor, Cap, and Iron Man, prepare to square off against Thanos in that epic leg shot that we got in the final trailer. And guys, at that point, man, the whole theater just applauded, and it was so epic and surreal because it's just like, hell yeah, the big three are back, and they're after Thanos, they're gonna kick his ass and undo everything and pretty much set things right. So Thanos has the upper hand and is about to finish Thor until out of nowhere fucking Mjolnir rises up off the ground and flies to Cap. And at that point, the whole entire theater just roared, and it was so fucking epic because not only did Cap wield Mjolnir, he threw the fuck out of it. He spun it and even did the lightning trick, and it was just so amazing to see that because we all know that in the comics, Cap is actually worthy of Mjolnir, and they even hint at it in Avengers Age of Ultron when he makes it budge. So again, just another awesome callback to an earlier film. Then of course Thanos is about to get the best of Cap and even cracking the shield in the process when we hear a faint message from Falcon saying, "Hey Cap, you there?" And sure enough, one by one, all of the fallen Avengers reappear through magic portals to rejoin the battle, and at that moment, we literally witnessed the pages of a comic book come to life, and it's just so epic and on a scale that we've never seen before. Then Cap orders the team to remove the gauntlet from the battlefield, and they all race to get the job done, and Tony epically ends it with his "I am Iron Man" quote and just pretty much just snaps all of Thanos' forces out of existence. And at that point, the whole theater just cheered in excitement as Tony pretty much just pulled off his final and most heroic act ever. And as an Iron Man fan, it really gratified me to see that. The film ends with the funeral for Tony, and Thor joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, making Valkyrie the leader of New Asgard, while Cap pretty much takes all the stones back to their original timeline. So that's it for all the plot spoilers, but there's still a few other things I want to talk about, starting off with Captain Marvel. I really loved her in this film. I like how they made her a badass without overusing her. And man, when she showed up, she really kicked some ass. Like, at the start of the film, when she zapped Thanos and put his ass in the chokehold, it was so badass. And then again at the end where she actually squares off against him, hitting with combinations. It was definitely worth seeing and something that we needed to see in this film. All of the female Avengers assemble alongside Pepper, who now wears the Iron Man suit, which I thought was really fucking cool, and honestly did not expect them to reveal in this film. The whole girl power element in that wasn't really necessary, but I thought the representation was pretty cool all the same. Also, Thor back in Asgard seeing his mom Frigga was very emotional because of the effect that it had on him, and it was legit one of those moments that kind of made me tear up, man. The fact that Thor has lost everything just really made that scene that much more impactful. And last but certainly not least, guys, we got a glimpse of the MCU's future when Cap passes on his mantle to Falcon. We all knew that it was going to be either him or Bucky because of the comics, but Bucky was already revealed as the White Wolf back in Black Panther, so it all sort of just makes sense. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm so excited to see Falcon wielding the shield and sporting the American flag on his wings and costume. So that's it for my spoiler talk on Endgame, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you tap that bell for notifications. There's also links to my social media posted down in the description below. And as always, Nerdy Python is out of here.